Hello, hello. Uh, just bear with me a second. Um, uh, all right, let's get into it. First thing of note is Nvidia looks like it's slowing down a little bit. Um, Still broke to a new high today, but looks like it's starting to run out of steam a little bit. BTC longs have still been increasing slightly. Um, Nothing huge, but they're still on the way up, not dropping. So it looks like people are going to take any sort of dip as an opportunity to keep buying, um, which, it's fair enough. If we come back in here, I'll have a quick look. So obviously the SPY SPX is down a bit, which was kind of what we expected based on what we were looking at yesterday. You would expect it to come at least back to this 20 moving average on the daily. But it's more likely you would see a correction back down to the daily 50, I would think. That's kind of what I'm expecting at this stage. Might take a few days though. The market looks pretty underwhelmed. It just doesn't. No one's keen to do anything, and that's why I'm still not expecting a huge downside here. It would be a similar sort of correction as that, maybe. The equal weight. What is that up there? Oh, hang on. Get rid of pi cycle. Equal weight has dropped down to the bottom half of the Gaussian, so it's suggesting more downside likely as well. There may be a rip up, just to shake out a few shorts, but you'd sort of expect that to come back into this gap here. Just a retest of the 20 moving average on the RSB. Yeah, Nasdaq's starting to roll over as well. So again, it's looking like the whole sell in May and go away thing. Looks like June might be a little suppressed to start off the month as well. Dixie's gone bumped up, which is another reason why you're seeing a bit of downside in the markets. VIX is on the way up. Still nothing to really write home about. You'd expect the support to probably, the resistance on the VIX, which would coincide with a support of around that between the 20 and 50 moving average. On the SPY, it's probably going to be around that 15 mark. If we break above that, probably going to get a deeper retrace like we did a few months ago. So yeah, it's just one to watch out for. TLT's still dropping. Jeez. Again, it might bottom out here as well. If we get a double bottom on the TLT, that will be interesting. But high yield bonds still dropping, which makes sense. Again, they were a pretty good early indicator that we were going to see a drop off here. So keep them on your charts. Copper's still dropping. Not a huge amount though. That 20 moving average is looking like bit of support on copper. Again, just watch out for the breaks below that. If it breaks below, there's quite a bit of demand in here, I would think, around that 4.5. So again, it's all kind of aligning with maybe a bit more downside before we see a run up towards the end of the year. Qs. So IWM, yeah, looking interesting that IWM's gotten below the 50 there. So yeah, it's looking more likely to get down to about the 194 mark. Again, this isn't financial advice, it's just the way I'm looking at the market, get things right in my head. Aussie Canadian dollar, so where's the Aussie chap? Anyway, Aussie's dropping off a bit. US 2-year, 10-year, it is dropping as well. Keep an eye on that. The M2 money supply. The interesting thing about this is it's actually increasing at the moment, so suggesting there's still not a lot of QT actually happening out in the market. So gold looks like it might come down a bit more before we get a bounce. Hang on, I'll have a quick look at the skew. Skew's not really, so the skew's not dropping hard, so again suggesting maybe not a huge retrace on the cards here, just a little bit of a, sorry, more of a retrace rather than a correction. This is definitely not financial advice, but all right, BTC, let's have a quick look at that. So it's played out as expected from yesterday. Looks like that 20 moving average on the daily has been the support level that it's bounced off there. I'd still expect a bit more downside here, at least into these sort of levels, 65 and a half. Yeah, I'd see what happens, but downside is still more likely, I think, at the moment. Just going to turn on. Yeah, I mean, this moving average here from the pi cycle indicator would be a good thing for it to come back to. Potentially align with the middle of the Gaussian channel, be just below the 50 EMA. You know, that's a fairly good target, I would think. That's about it, really. Ethereum's still holding up, better than Bitcoin at the moment, but it's kind of to be expected with the ETF. Yeah, I think that's about it. Summary is more downside is likely, more likely than not at the moment, but again, still very low liquidity. So just be careful, because with this little interest in the market at the moment, you could get pretty decent moves in either direction, pretty good fake outs and fairly quick fake out. If we get a quick move to the downside, I'd expect it to be bought up pretty heavily as well. So I think this 64 and a half is going to be a pretty large support level. How about Sol? Let's have a quick look at Sol. Sol on the daily is not looking super strong. Let me just go into a different chart. Yeah, I mean it's hovering above the moving support. It's kind of neutral at the moment. No real opinions. It wouldn't surprise me if it comes back down to the 161.5 at least, and that'll be a critical level for it. If it breaks through that, you would expect, the 140 mark. Yeah, it's just kind of hovering. It'll follow what Bitcoin does, but it's interesting that it's up on the day, whereas a lot of the other alts aren't. Like Matic, you would be pretty confident that it's actually going to come down, but again, you've got a very well defended level in here. Yeah, day trading Sol. Let's have a quick look at shorter time frames then. Again, it's kind of ranging at the moment. Let's put I'll have a look at it on a different chart. So Bitcoin's probably, if it can stay above the 50 EMA on the 15 minute, we might see a bit more upside. It's like this shit is just choppy as. So boring. We want some decent volumes in to actually make this interesting. I'll just bring up Sol. Sorry, I use different indicators for when I'm looking at different time frames. Don't worry about these trades. This hasn't been calibrated for Sol at all. Yeah, tested the middle band of the Bollingers is interesting. It is above all the main moving averages at the moment, so it actually might see some upside towards the top of this range. It's strange that it's going against the majority of the market at the moment. It's definitely trading differently to the others. So yeah, it's funny. You quite often get a bounce from the middle band of the Bollingers. But it's looking reasonably strong. It's just really hard when it's on low volume. So looks fairly well defended. A lot of wicks to the downside here. So yeah, Sol's potentially not a bad short-term trade at the moment. Sol's undervalued apparently. Better than Mac is suggesting. I to be honest with you, I don't follow Sol that much, but yeah, it probably is undervalued to be honest. If it's going to be used in a lot of things like Visa and MasterCard and stuff like that. But anyway, I need to head off now. I've got to catch a flight to Savo, but yeah, that's generally what I'm looking at. Again, it's a dull market, hard to short, but downside I think overall is still more likely. It's going to be pretty choppy, I think, on the shorter time frames for a little bit. Which, if you can watch them, if you can grab those moves, then still some profit to be made. But yeah, all right. I'll catch you tomorrow.